Can babies have cheese? What is the best cheese to give them? Today we're talking all about it. Hi guys, it's Renee with New Ways Nutrition, and today we're taking a deep dive into cheese and what the best ones for your baby and toddler are. So cheese is actually one of those foods that, while delicious, is really high in sodium. And if you haven't heard me talk about it before, we really want to be limiting sodium for our children. Under 1, we want to stick to 200 milligrams or less a day. If you want details about that, I'll link to a blog post on that for you below. And then over 1, it ups. It's not quite as drastically low. It goes up to 800 milligrams a day, but still, that is not as much as we think it is. And so it's important that we're aware of the things that have high amounts of sodium in them. And like I said, cheese is delicious. It's one of my favorite foods, but it's something that we need to be aware of. So your average cheddar or other popular food out there is going to have 200 milligrams of sodium per ounce for most brands. The thing with cheese is that salt actually helps to preserve it. So there is a functional purpose of having it in many cheeses. It's also something that every cheesemaker is going to have their own recipe and their own flavor profile that they're looking for. And so every different brand of cheese, not just every type of cheese, is going to have a different amount of sodium. If you compare 2 cheddars, they're going to have different amounts in there. So it's always important to look at the label for cheeses. But I took a really deep dive for a blog post that, again, we'll link to another one of those down below, looking at what the best cheeses are for babies from a sodium standpoint. And it's really hard to find low sodium cheese in most grocery stores. A lot of the ones that are targeted at kids, like string cheese or cottage cheese, actually have 200 milligrams or more of sodium per serving size in them. So those are really hard to serve, especially under 1. So some options for you. Ricotta is a great option and usually has low or no sodium in it. That can be spread on toast. It can be used pretty much anywhere. You can give it just as a spoonful, just to give them a creamy and cheesy, delicious flavor. You can also find fresh mozzarella with low amounts of sodium. This varies a little bit, but by and large, fresh mozzarella is going to be much lower in sodium than regular mozzarella. And you're starting to get snack balls and other sources like string cheese out there that are fresh mozzarella. So keep your eye out for that. That tends to be much better for babies. Swiss cheese is another option that you have that tends to be low in sodium. You're also going to find it, a lot of different of the spreadable cheeses have low or no sodium in them. So for this, we're looking at like mascarpone, farmer's cheese, quark, anything. All grocery stores are going to have different ones. So anything that looks like it's spreadable in the cheese section, check out the amount of sodium for it. They generally tend to be low or, like I said, no sodium in it. So those can be great options for babies. Now, what happens if you can't find any of those or don't like any of those? I love cheddar, I love feta. Those are some of our favorite cheeses, and we didn't just not serve them to our baby. What you can do is just serve them not very often. So if there's something that you love, you know your baby's gonna eat some of, serve it once a week, serve it once every other week. Just worry more about the amount that you're serving or how frequently you're serving it, more than if there is sodium or not in it. Babies are gonna be okay if you give them a little bit higher amounts of sodium infrequently. It's really the long-term daily amount that we're looking at. So don't worry too much about individual days. All right, I hope that helped give you some ideas of what cheeses to look for at the grocery store. Have a good day.
No.